Hey guys, how you doing? Today we're looking at this 6-in-1 adjustable temperature soldering iron from NIUTOP. Now if you're like me and you do a little bit of DIY around the house, then there's going to be an occasion when you're going to need a soldering iron. I have got one from B&Q, which is a small DIY chain in the UK. However, it's not great and it's not temperature controlled. So when I was given the option to review this for the seller, I jumped at it because it's temperature controlled. So this is how the pack arrived from Amazon Prime. I was quite surprised it just arrives in a small plastic cellophane bag or grip seal bag. However, the items are contained within this lovely green folder. So let's take a look inside. The folder is fairly easy to unzip, and once it's unzipped we can open it outwards. And the first item that we're looking at here is the desoldering pump. And a quick twist of the pump and the whole thing comes apart and we can see how it works. And in essence it is just a large suction pen. So the idea behind this is you melt the solder on the circuit board, you push the plunger down and you place the tip over the solder that you've just melted, push the smaller button and it will suck the solder off of the circuit board and into the pen. Then the next item is the small circular disc with the yellow sponge on. And what you do here is you would wet the sponge and you can use this to rest the tip of the soldering iron onto, or at least clean it off, so that when you get some excess solder on the tip of the soldering iron, you can wipe it on the wet cloth or the wet sponge and it will remove the solder. Next out we have a clear pen with some wire inside, and ultimately this is the solder that comes with the pack. So you can just pull the blue tip off the end and then you'll be able to pull the solder off. You can also feed the solder through the tip of the blue nozzle, and that way you don't have to remove the tip every time you want to take some solder out. Next we have a selection of spare tips, and these range from finely pointed tips all the way through to the knife edge tips. So what you can do is you can undo the tip of the soldering iron and replace the current tips. So in essence you get 6 tips with the kit, 5 in the spare section and 1 that's already connected to the soldering iron. Next out we have a pair of fine nose angled tweezers. Now these are really good for holding components in place when you're trying to solder them onto a circuit board. So a really handy piece of equipment to have in this kit. And then lastly out we have the soldering iron itself. This comes equipped with a UK 3-pin plug. It's blue in colour, and as we can see here you can unscrew the tip of the soldering iron. It then reveals the core, which heats up and in turn heats the tip. You can unscrew this and that's how you would replace the tips. And then you can also unscrew the black plastic nozzle, which unscrews off and it will reveal the entire inside of the core that heats up. It goes all the way down to the circuit board, which in turn provides power to the core to heat the soldering iron up. Okay, and on to the important thing to note about this soldering iron, and the reason that I bought it is that it has this small dial on the base, and as you can see there are a number of numbers on it. Basically this soldering iron dials down the temperature from a low of 200 degrees Celsius all the way up to 450, so that's what makes it temperature controlled. Now another important feature that a soldering iron has to have when working is a fairly long lead or flex from the plug all the way to the soldering iron, and this one doesn't disappoint because fully stretched out it does equate to probably 5.4 feet, so it's getting on for nearly 5.5 foot long. And now depending on what you want to use it for, some people always like to know the weight of the item all up, and this one is at 473, so 473 grams all up. So you were probably expecting some footage of me using the soldering iron, and you know what? I was going to do that, and then I realised it's probably pretty pointless because all you're going to see is me using a soldering iron. All I can say is that the soldering iron works. The dial on the bottom's fairly fiddly and it's not 100% accurate. However, it does tone the temperature down from around 200 and it will take it all the way up to about 450. So in terms of things working, well, it does, and it doesn't disappoint. Now if you guys want to get your hands on this soldering iron kit, then you can do so by clicking the link on the video here, and that will take you through to the Amazon site where you'll be able to pick it up for its current price, hopefully at £13.99. Well, that's it for now guys, and I hope in some way the review has helped you to make a decision on purchasing or not. If that is the case, then I would appreciate it if you guys give us a like. Alternatively, if you're watching the video on YouTube and you haven't done so already, remember to subscribe for more review videos.